Hey everybody, what's going on? I got another beer review for you today, and this one comes at a request. Now, I went through my comments and messages, and shame on me, I can't find who requested it, but somebody asked if I would do a Lagunitas beer. So I went ahead and grabbed one of the beers that they recommended that I do a review on, and it just so happens to be one of my favorite offerings from Lagunitas, and that would be the 12th of Never Ale. Now, this beer does have wheat in it, and since it's a wheat beer, but it's also a really hoppy beer, and part of the experience of this beer is its color and haziness, we're going to go ahead and give this can a little bit of a roll. And the reason you want to do this for any beer that has a rolled oats or wheat or anything like that is it disturbs anything that's settled in the can. Now, being in the cold, it's going to crash everything out. Anything that's heavier than the water that's in your beer will settle out. Now, I'm sure there are those of you who are wondering, well, why are you reviewing a Lagunitas beer? They're owned by Heineken, right? Like, why would you do a beer that's owned by Heineken? Come on. Look, I've got nothing against them for what they did. They sold to Heineken, you know, and Heineken has already said, we're going to be hands off on this. And they did not send me this beer. I bought a pack of it myself because I really, really do enjoy this thing. Now, that's just a little caveat. Now, if things start to change and I feel like maybe Lagunitas is going in a different direction, I would suggest that anybody who's in the boat that likes craft beer would follow my lead and the lead of many others and vote with your wallet. If you feel like the beer is not deserving of your money, just don't buy it. So here we go. We're going to dive into this beer. Give it a little taste. Now, as always, it's in my trusty, handy-dandy Modern Times glass. And the reason I use this glass is it's basically a Riedel Spiegelau stemless tulip. And I really like that style. And all of my other Spiegelau that I had that were the normal stemmed tulip, those all broke. And yes, I spilled. That's okay. We'll just act like that never happened. Now, as with all of my beer reviews, we're going to just go over the basics here. These are available in a multiple pack of 12-ounce cans or a 19.5-ounce tall can. I haven't seen those in my stores yet, but you can get this beer in those options. It's also available on draft, and it is now year-round, so you can always get this beer. However, to me, I like to really enjoy it on a nice warm day like today, and today is pretty freaking warm. A little bit about the beer. This is 5.5% alcohol. It clocks in at 45 IBUs. It's also done with wheat and barley, standard stuff you to get for a nice beer. And look at the color on this thing, man. I mean, it is just a gorgeous color. Typically, you know, you're gonna have tighter bubbles with more wheat and more specialty malts that keep that head retention there. And this beer, I mean, it's hanging onto the head, but it's not a heavy wheat beer. So earlier when I said it's got wheat in it, it's not a heavy wheat beer. The color is gorgeous. It's a nice pale color, nice straw color. Not much copper in there, a little tiny hint of it, but not a lot. Next step, obviously, for tasting beer is the aroma. Now, the aroma comes through very tropical with citrus. So it's got like this kind of papaya, a little bit of coconut, and citrus like grapefruit, tangerine kind of aroma. It's really pleasant, and you don't smell a lot of grain or alcohol pouring off the glass. At 5.5%, it's perfectly sessionable for a nice day like today. Now let's go ahead and give this thing a taste now that we've already looked at it and smelled it. It's super pleasant. Now the thing for me that really sets this beer apart from other options that are on the low ABV side and, you know, mid IBUs, 45, 50 IBUs, doesn't really a whole lot. But when the beer is so stripped down like this is, the hops come through, but they're not overly bitter, and it's not really a hoppy beer in the traditional sense of it's not going to punch you in the palate and make you be like, man, my mouth is just coated with lupulin and I can't cope. This is super pleasant because the grain bill is so stripped down. It's probably just 2-row and wheat. It has that taste of just those two ingredients. Almost like a smash beer, single malt and single hops, and that's your smash. It's got that kind of character to it. And I'll be honest, those smash beers, they always hit the right spots for me. They always tick the right boxes. So now this beer is pretty much a good beer for any occasion for the most part. I mean, if you're going out and about camping, going to the river, what have you, it is summertime, so check your laws regarding drinking at the beach, but you know, I'm not going to tell you not to do it. If you want to do that, go ahead and have at it. It's perfect beer for that. Fits, you know, right in a cooler, no problem. You can pack what you take with you, bring it back, throw it away. Don't leave trash everywhere. Come on, people, don't do that. This beer to me is just a fantastic, you know, like hoppy American pale. It's just super pleasant. So initially when you taste this beer, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna notice one thing, is that freaking lovely, lovely biscuit character that this thing imparts on your palate. It is fantastic. And then you're going to have that finish with the nice crackery character with the citrus and the fruit that I'm talking about. So you're gonna have that like papaya, a little bit of coconut kind of character coming through. It's very pleasant and very drinkable. The nice thing is, though, for it being so stripped down and so light, it is a full-bodied beer. And the wheat helps with that. Now, the wheat does give this beer presence on your palate. It doesn't just wash down, you know, like you'd have in a lager or something like that. It is a full-bodied beer. Now, this beer is everything that you would want in a beer to showcase hop varietals without being a big bitter beer. This shows everything that you would need to know. It gives you your citrus varietal. It gives you that tropical character. No grassy, no pine, but for a beer this stripped down, you really don't want that really resinous kind of character. I know I like resinous hoppy beers, but for this being so light, you don't want to do that. So Lagunitas really, they've killed it when they brought this beer out, and they've been killing it ever since, releasing it all the time. It's a good, solid beer. Now, if I had to give this beer a score on a scale of 1 to 10, as I always do, it's a hard one for me to turn my bias off because I do really like this beer, and I'm sure some of you are going to be like, well, just give it a 0 because it's owned by Heineken. You know what? I'm not going to do that. I will give this beer a fair score, what it deserves, and honestly, 12th and never, it's an 8.25. It's a good alternative to Sculpin if you don't want, if you don't want a Sculpin. Sculpin's going to be more malty, more sweet. This has no sweetness in it because the grain bill's so stripped down, but it has that fruit character, that tropical fruit character and citrus. It's not sweet, but it gives you that perception of being really fruity and full flavorful without being on the sweeter side. Now, that's not to say Sculpin's sweet. It's just a whole lot sweeter than this beer. All right, this is Homebrew's Brew Reviews. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate your feedback and support. If you guys liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. As always, I appreciate everything you do for me. I'll see you guys around. Cheers. Have a good one.